You are listening to the Eskimo Empire Podcast, a proud member of the Canadian Football Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Empire. It's the Eskimo Empire Podcast.
Here's Mike Riley, takes the drop, waits and throws, and he's going deep downfield. And Darius Bowman. Oh my goodness, what a catch by Darius Bowman. You won't see many better than that. Franklin to Zylstra, touchdown Eskimos. Pressure's coming. Oh, Levi Mitchell goes down. There's a big play for the defense. Somersaults for everybody.
Welcome back to the Turf District for episode 97, the Rashad Genty episode of the Eskimo Empire Podcast, brought to you by Allaire Homes. Visit allairehomes.ca, Allaire Homes on Facebook, or at Allaire Edmonton on Twitter for more information on your next build. I am your host, Andrew. Thank you for downloading and having a listen. And a reminder to listen to all of the great shows in the CF Pod Network. That's the Canadian Football Pod Network. I do want to send a thanks out to Rouge Radio as they had me on for the last couple of weeks and put up with my horrible dad jokes. So thanks for having me on, guys. We have a great show for you as we will cover the week that was in the CFL, including, of course, the Esks big win, another Eskimo history segment, our pick'ems for this week. We'll catch up with another current Eskimo player, and we have an amazing guest. So joining me, as always, your favorite pick'em scholar, it's super fan Mike. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Pick'em scholar.
Well, that's what I'm going with, because you're 84th in the country and 4th in our little Empire League, which
can't complain about that.
I know, you're on fire.
Toronto's been good to me. This
you mean time? Stupid Toronto? That's what you mean?
They're doing great. They're doing great.
That would be stupid Toronto.
Stupid Montreal this week.
No.
I don't think anyone could pick that one.
Montreal
was it like 6% of the country picked Montreal.
But we were all happy about it.
Oh, I wasn't complaining.
Okay, good. That's a good loss to have. Absolutely. Hey, we're 3-0. Fan.
We are. I know a lot of people maybe didn't predict it. Are you talking the wins or the injuries?
Yeah, both.
Yeah.
Well, that would be 3-0 and 0-3 as it turns out. But yes, it's been a rough 3 weeks for us. But hey, all 3 wins. I can't really complain about that at this point.
No, we're definitely going to test our depth here, and I think I think we still have some really great players that are down the depth chart that are getting a chance now to show their stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll get more into those as we get into some of the Esks news.
Yeah.
This show, I think we should probably take a moment to dedicate it to Karen K. Oh, wait. No, it wasn't in the first minute, so I guess it really doesn't count. A technicality. No. I will give her 200 Empire points.
She'll appreciate that to go along with the other things she got.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. It's not a million.
No.
But 200 Empire points, I mean, really.
That's, we've seen the prizes.
I know, exactly. If you missed out on the Periscope, make sure you watch it so that you can catch what just got added to our Empire Points prize.
Sweet.
It is amazing, and thank you to Joe for that. All right, well, let's get right to our guest, as she's going to want to add in with the rest of this conversation that's coming up. Making her third appearance is the original fire trucker herself. It is Jedi Chantelle. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for joining us again. A few things have happened since we last had you here, but let's go back first. We talked a bit about it on the Periscope, but you had the chance to go to the women's dinner for the Eskimos.
I did.
And how was that experience? I mean, obviously, we've never been to one, so how did you find it?
The food is always amazing. It's catered by the Sawmill, so you cannot really go wrong.
No. Sesame sauce. That's all I got to say.
Bring your checkbooks. There's some pretty amazing, things that you could have won. There was a $5,000 ring.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it was beautiful. Probably the size of my knuckle. But they had that. They had little gift bags that, you spent $50 and you got at least $30 gift card to Hildeberg and Burke.
Right.
And every 5th bag had a bauble in it of some sort.
Oh, okay.
Not mine, but I'm going to go spend my money.
So you're a bauble.
I can say that you did find something amazing to spend your money on.
I did. After I got hit by the lady for daring to try to bid on getting a photo with the team on Team Photo Day.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Which is, that didn't do as well.
Okay.
I scurried and scuttled over to the other table where I was able to secure Alumni Game Day experience.
Yes.
And what an experience.
Oh, my goodness. What an experience it was. And, let's talk about that in just a second.
So, obviously, training camp hits late in May, early in June, and you were able to go to a fair amount of the game. So, what were your early impressions of the team and how it was built outside of, say, Cass White?
I was just going to say 87 could have caught that. I had my money down on Cass White, that boy, in the first 8 days in a row. And he did not miss a ball until the 6th day, and it was only one, and I don't know what happened.
Yeah, it's hard to say. We don't know what routes he is supposed to be running versus what he does run. Mm-hmm. If you start freelancing, maybe they figure you're not worth your time. But I agree. I thought he was a really great player, but there were just so many American...
I was just going to say, look at our depth at American receiver, though. Like, wow, somebody was going to have to drop off.
Yeah, and I mean, they've said it in quite a few of the interviews where they were saying it's the tough decisions, but you're lucky enough to have to make the tough decisions. You know, if you're going to have, say, the best 10 in the league and you have to narrow it down, you're still going to have to part ways with some pretty fantastic
We were cutting
people.
Good players, for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, but at least we have the benefit then of the doubt. We do have some people who maybe do know the playbook. Mm-hmm. You never want to wish injuries on anybody, but
but this year it seems to be important.
But if worse comes to worse, you have, like, we're pulling out of even our practice roster, we could pull almost another line of
really
offense, decent offense catching the ball types.
Yes,
who might even catch the ball better than our actual offensive line did in the first game.
Well, it's entirely true. Entirely true. Now, we've been lucky with you as well because as the game started, we got to have you as part of the tailgate. And I think you've been to every one of them so far, which is awesome. Now, what do you think of that atmosphere? I know we talked about it a bit on Periscope, but what have you found has been a really cool thing about the tailgate?
I think what it's starting to bring to the league, I'm always a big, loud mouthpiece when it comes to we're not the NFL.
Right.
But there's a culture that goes around, I think more maybe the university ball in the States, where it's the fans are dedicated, the fans are passionate, the fans throw their own damn parties the day before the game, and they're excited, and they're there, and they're cooking food, and they're having games, and they're drinking their faces off, and everybody's there, and it's crazy. And they're great. And we're not maybe there.
No.
We're not maybe Jedi level of excitement yet. But I think this goes to a positive environment, something to get excited over. It's an attraction outside of the game. It gets people excited. It gives them a reason. I know even at our work where we had people like, oh, well, I'm headed, downtown for something or other. Well, swing by the tailgate even though you're not going to the game.
Right.
And I think that's especially in the university towns in the States where even if you don't have the money to go to the game, if you're not going to the game, it's the party. Mm-hmm, it's out in the front, and you are celebrating. You're still backing your team. You're not spending a dime unless you're actually doing the tailgate. But you're able to get down there. You're able to appreciate football, and it just drives excitement. It drives interest, engagement.
Well, and in a lot of those university places, that you can't get a ticket to the game, right? So
and
you only
100,000 people going to the game and still no tickets.
Yeah, and so you still have outside of the game the entire area that is dedicated to tailgating. People with lawn chairs with the radios on, listening to the game that's going on inside of the building.
Yes.
That's an excitement about, could you imagine filling Commonwealth and then filling lots A, B, and C?
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like
that's... Love it. And I think this is one of those first steps is bringing back tailgating. And I know we had that question from Papa Duck this week as far as how do you get more people into the stands in that CFL games? I think this is a great way to build that atmosphere of people coming and experiencing what that passion is like, and then you're more likely to get a ticket at some point, right? And it might not be right now, but it might be soon.
I think ultimately what this does is help build community.
Yes.
It's part of the whole culture, especially as Chantelle said, in the United States, where it's not just 3 hours. It's a full day is football day. And in the States on college, it's Saturdays.
Right.
Or for NFL, it's Sundays. It gets people saying, okay, well, tomorrow morning we're going to wake up, we're going to get to the stadium, we're going to make pancakes and bacon and eggs, and then we're going to play some games, and then we're going to have some lunch, and just all the way up until the game, 3 hours of a game to finish it off. Everyone goes home happy, and It's an incredible experience. I would love to see them promote it a little more. Obviously, there are no more spots available.
Right.
But people can still come, and they might say, well, I could sit at home and watch the game on my 60-inch TV. But now you're like, well, maybe I'll go down and we'll hang out at the tailgate and we'll throw the ball around with some other Eskimo fans, talk football, meet some people we have a common interest. And while we're there, let's go to the game after. So
yeah, exactly.
I think it's a great first step. And especially since there are places, BC being one, for an example, that doesn't have tailgating. And I think that that's really a missed opportunity. It's going to be hard for BC. They don't have any more spots.
Right, yes.
It's all been bought up by private industry, as Brian Orishan will be more than disappointed to tell you as well.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
He and I have talked about it. But the fact that it's finally here is an opportunity we shouldn't waste. And if you haven't been down to the tailgate, come on down. Lots A and B. There are 82 spots of tailgating, lots of games. Come on down to the Empire tailgate spots in lots 12 and 13.
Yeah.
Come visit, say hi, have a burger, a hot dog, or whatever else we're cooking up for you, and sit and talk football.
Exactly. And hopefully we'll get some of our own games going there soon. I got to find a way to get out some games for Empire points. We're working on that. So
excellent. So now we're kind of up to present day now. So the most recent game, we had an amazing experience, thanks to you, as you mentioned earlier, getting to sit in the alumni room. And as we talked about in the Periscope, just an incredible atmosphere and experience. So how was that for you, having been in the stands to now being in the alumni room, watching games, seeing everything else around?
I'm an atmosphere person.
Sure.
I love, the experience, the feeling in the air, and it was definitely different. And I'll scream and yell for the D all game long. I didn't in there. Since somebody might have responded or something, I don't know.
Maybe, yes.
Maybe. But it was, like I said on the Periscope, it was just different. It's neat to see what you see through somebody else's eyes. Sure. So it's neat to see me as a fan going, woo, kicking their ass, we're having fun. But it's different to just sort of sit there, watch a game, and take it in behind you, them going, do you know when so-and-so, used to run this? Or do you remember, or they made a bad call since, and they bring their own memory, their own, the way they felt it, the way they saw it, whether it's they have their idols, but they're idols for different reasons.
Yes.
These are the... If you wanted to be a rock star, and then you were a rock star, you'd look at other rock stars maybe a bit differently, and have maybe a different appreciation. Instead of me, I can't play football if you paid me to, and I didn't learn the actual rules till probably about 10 years after I started watching a game. But this is something they eat, they breathe, they live, they sleep, they throw their lives into, and then it's a continuation of that. They're still living it. They're still in there. They're maybe some stronger opinions on some other people.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. You get to see a little bit of who maybe got along with who or who didn't. But it's just a different take on it. It's deeply personal. It's not the go team go. It's go guys, you're my brothers. I've never played with you, but you're my brother, and we're going to win this. Because it's still like they're out there. They're watching it as if they're experiencing the play. Jed, I know 2 or 3 times was like, I remember this, and that went like that, and it's exactly like that, and he's reliving those moments, and, either maybe disappointed in how it's currently handled, or getting really excited because that's exactly how we did it, and that was perfect the way he did it. It's always better to experience something from somebody when it's personal.
I totally agree. And I think, I don't know for you, Superfan, but yeah, Jed's commentary right behind us and kind of filling us in as the game was going on was unreal.
Jed is one of those guys that I don't understand how he's not doing color commentary in the CFL somewhere.
Right.
He has not only a great insight into the game, but his personality, his sense of humor, his timing is impeccable. And he can relate it to so many things. Just sort of building on something that Chantelle said, what I found interesting, and having talked to other alumni previously, is, let's say, in your regular life, outside of this football game, you might be Principal Pothier.
Yes.
But as soon as you go into that room and you're in Commonwealth Stadium, you're Hector Pothier, 6-time Grey Cup winner, Wall of Honor inductee, legend. and you're treated as such, right? So it's very different. I mean, having spoken to other players, sometimes most players, most people out there don't know who they are, have no clue.
Yeah.
But as soon as they step, even if it's someone that maybe played before your time, everyone else, people will be like, okay, who's that guy? Because obviously he played or something because people know him. They find out more about this person, and maybe they'll look up Bane Norrie, who happened to have been there, or Herb Dobbins, Eric Blunt. Like, these are just some of these names, and it's just one name after another, and you're like, I'm sitting with these guys.
Yeah, exactly.
And whether they're watching the game or not, I mean, Ed Jones was watching extremely intently to this game and not spending much time visiting. Other players were doing more visiting and reminiscing and bonding over this amazing game that we all love.
Yeah, it was truly amazing, and of course we talked about it on the Periscope. But the highlight for you and I, we about halfway through the first quarter, I looked over my right shoulder and
died a little inside.
No, I think, like I said, I think it was one of the
squealed
first,
like a little girl.
Yeah, that is more true. And I turned back to you and I said, that's Wilkie sitting over there.
Yeah.
And you turned around and looked and came back and said, yes, he is.
Just squeaked out something.
And, yep, it is. And I said, I'm going to have to talk to him. But it was one of those things where I just couldn't find what the words were going to be.
Yeah.
When it's somebody that is absolutely a legend in your mind, was on the field when I first started watching this game. He's right up there with Warren for me.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe he was there. And we were not even 12 feet away from him. And it took until the third quarter for me to get up enough courage to go over and say, Mr. Wilkinson, it's absolutely a pleasure to meet you. And his response changed the whole thing in such a positive way, where he said, the pleasure is all mine.
And literally meant it.
Genuinely meant it.
Yeah.
And he told us stories about Warren, and he told us stories about Bob Howes. He remembers this time that he had on the field with us, and it was truly an amazing experience.
I've told the story many times before about growing up and being a 9-year-old kid, and this new quarterback, Warren Moon, joins the team, and falling in love with the way he played. And my father was pure and simple a Wilkie fan. Mm-hmm. Wilkie was certainly more of an old school kind of guy. You can imagine him drawing diagrams in the dirt, in the huddle, where you're going to run here, you're going to block this, you're going to do that, and then going out and executing it. And it was a big thing in my house on who was the better quarterback. And it wasn't until I was older and Wilkie had retired that I was able to appreciate exactly what he brought, not only to the team, but the fans and guys like Moon. Mm-hmm. I mean, Moon had certainly all the tools in that toolbox, but I think just some of the things that Wilkie was able to, and Wilkie will tell you that he had nothing to do with Warren Moon.
Of course.
But he's just such a self-effacing guy that, he helped Warren at that embryonic phase of his career as a professional. And the fact that we're able to sit there and talk to him, and he is more than happy to share those stories with us, I'll always remember and treasure that time.
Absolutely. So thank you, Jedi, because that was truly amazing, and hopefully we will be able to talk to him some more.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Come into the future here. So, all right, well, let's get to talking about the game that we watched that night.
Oh, there was actually a game, too.
There was. Crazy. Not the prettiest game by any stretch. No. We had one really, really good quarter with 17 points in the second quarter. Support in the other third and fourth quarter. First quarter,
not so pretty.
Maybe we don't need to talk so much about that. I think the biggest difference in this game was time of possession, which was a little surprising to me, but the Eskimos ended up with a 10-minute advantage in the time of possession.
I didn't see that at all. Watching the game, it didn't feel like it. It certainly felt a lot closer, but 10 minutes is huge on that other team's defense.
Absolutely. And then on top of that, Ottawa missing 2 converts, a single and a 2-point conversion.
Right.
So that definitely played a role in this particular game.
It did.
Jedi, tell us, what did you think about this game?
I've spent the first part of this season feeling exactly the opposite about the team that I did last year.
Sure.
Where last year I was, good Lord, our offense is carrying our defense. Where is our defense? Come on. Like, boys, cover them, run. And this year I'm like, well, if it weren't for our defense, we might not have won any of those games.
Defense
because our
scoring that, yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. On top of the fact that defense seemed to be the only one playing one quarter. But
kind of, yes. Yeah. Yeah, our first 5 drives, I believe, all ended in punts.
Yeah, no, it was tune out. Like,
Well, I watched the game again afterwards. I watched it on TV.
Mm-hmm.
And what was interesting is I think in the first quarter, the total offense was less than 100 yards combined between both teams.
Really?
The net yards.
Holy
it was like
jeez.
49-36 or something stupid like that.
Wow. You don't see that often in a CFL game.
No, and it was like 3-0 or something like that.
no, but it's nice to see that our defense was actually where they were. The difference between the first game we played this season and now, I was worried. Because they weren't where they were. They're, I know we all joke about how, you can't interfere, pass interference. No, you can't touch them. They
whatever that means.
Right. Can't look at them the wrong way. Like cry or something. But it's really interesting to see that, they weren't afraid to be there. And no one likes to see a penalty. And I don't think we drew any really totally irresponsible.
Actually, this game, we only had 8 penalties, which is the least we've had all season.
And we weren't stupid. Yeah. And we weren't stupid about it. You always get an offside. You always, nobody's grabbing face mask or getting where they shouldn't be. And that's always going to happen. But I have all the respect in the world. If you're going to go out there and push that envelope to make sure that ball is not touched by that receiver, and you're going to maybe get a little closer and give the guy a hug. I'm okay with that. And
all love.
As long as it's not a ref, it's perfectly fine.
Right. No penalties.
That's right.
Yes.
And I think they were definitely where they needed to be more this game than they have been, and I think that's been a steady improvement that we didn't have almost all of last year in the defense, I feel, where the offense was really... the offense would get off to an enormous start and score those 10, 13 points in the first quarter, and they had to because our defense was not touching receivers.
Right.
They were letting them run. They're like, where? Oh, over there? Okay, well, you catch that, and we'll regroup and see what we're going to do.
And our defense has been better, for sure. I mean... Let's look at. Peters, I thought, had a better game. This game, he was bumping guys. He's up 6 tackles in this game, and I thought that we mentioned it a couple of times that Colquhoun, although he had a couple that went over his head, but a couple of plays were incredibly athletic.
Yeah, very close on the Ellingson.
Yes,
almost touchdown.
Yeah,
another guy I thought was playing well was Ladler.
Huge game.
A name that we seem to be saying every week. I know that we had talked about how are we going to replace Otha Foster a couple of years ago, and Ladler settled in the second half, especially of last year, and this year he's quietly putting up an all-star season as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, so far, I 100% agree.
Yeah.
100% agree. Let's go back to the offensive side of the ball just for a second. Riley had a decent game, 27 of 39, and not too shabby at all, right around that 70% mark, which seems to be hitting. 265 yards, 1 TD. Now, I think one thing that really stood out to me after the game was he's now had 3 full games without an interception.
He's the only starting quarterback to not have an interception on the season.
Like,
touch
that's
wood.
Pretty good. Yeah, exactly.
Because we don't want to be jinxing it.
Now, of course, he did get sacked 4 times.
He did, and again, rewatching it, I thought maybe it's coverage sacks, but no, it was actually guys just beating their man.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we had a question Lord Touchdown had asked earlier, what happened to the O-line this game?
It's hard to say. I don't think that they're regressing in any way. I think it's just these are guys that they're facing that are just out and out literally beating their man, whether it's around the outsides or up the middle. We certainly came close to having several sacks ourselves, plus the sack we did have. So
yeah, we had 4 quarterback pressures, so it was close. But interesting that Riley got sacked that many times when he has been fairly clean up to this point in the first 2 games.
I think they were figuring he was going for a longer pass, so he was still waiting, beyond that 1.5, 2 second thing, that maybe that's what Harris was doing, is dumping those off inside of 2 seconds, and that's why it's a hurry and not a sack.
Right. That's true. Trayvon Van, I know you want to talk about him. They're super fans, so I better make sure I get you that time.
Yeah, well, I decided this game to start paying attention to the run game.
No kidding.
Yeah, just for new. Now, I love the run game, and as we talked about with Linda last week, I love seeing balance on that running game. This season and near the end of last season, once we had that Labor Day and White came back after injury, you just started seeing real commitment to the run game from the coaches and the players. Van had 50 or 55 yards rushing in the first half, 50 some odd rushing yards in the second half. He was bouncing them outside. He was running up the middle. He was catching out of the backfield. He was just kind of really doing it all, but especially his blocking. It really improved. And, I think that with Blanco down for the rest of the season, having Van here and knowing the book as well as he does, I think has just turned out great for this team.
Yeah, it sure seems that way. Absolutely. Okay, so let's switch over to special teams. Just one of the biggest plays in the game, as far as I'm concerned, was the punt block by Optimus Prime. Absolutely. As he runs in and gets his hands on the ball, and then gives us a first down basically inside the 15, which was the best field position we'd had all night, and the offense plugs it in and gets the touchdown. I thought that really definitely was a major turning point in the game.
We don't see a lot of punt blocks often. It's been a while for the Eskimos, and what a boost to that team, because you could see the sidelines erupt when it happened.
Yes.
So it not only helps the team with field position, but it boosts that mood and really gives us, let's go in there and punch that in.
Yeah, when's the best time to get more points? We'll have to just got the last points.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, how about we get more? Exactly. That worked out very, very well. So we just talked about that big play, so I figure we might as well talk to the guy who made the big play, Optimus Prime himself. We got a chance to go down and talk to Alex Hoffman-Ellis. Now, in the beginning of this, you're going to hear a little bit of wind and rain, because it was a little not so fun as we were talking to him as far as weather is concerned, but the actual conversation was amazing. So let's go to that right now. All right, we are now joined by one of the Eskimos players who happens to have what I believe the best Twitter handle on the team, the one and only Optimus Prime, Alex Hoffman-Ellis. How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty well, just trying to stay dry as possible.
Us too. So this is your second stint back here in Edmonton, and of course, first time got cut a little short by injury, but we're glad you're back. What are you thinking of being back in Edmonton?
I love being back. I've always said I'm an ambassador for every city I'm in. So I love when I'm not on the practice field or at the facility, I love supporting local events, farmers markets, arts festivals, whatever it may be. And there's a lot of that, and plenty of culture in Edmonton that I have yet to explore. So I always look forward to that.
That's fantastic. Now, this is, again, you're back under Coach Benny. How do you find under his system, and what parts do you like the best that you can kind of excel at?
I love having that familiarity. Some variation of this system I've had pretty much every year of my career, and that continuity is often hard to find.
Yeah.
The fact that I have that is great. Probably one of the best parts of being here.
Awesome.
So you're a Washington State grad. How is the rivalry here on the team when you've got Eastern Washington with JC and Central Washington with Mike Riley?
Honestly, it's not much of rivalry talk. I mean, when Eastern Washington beat us last year, I had to hear JC for the whole year.
Fire trucking.
No, but hey, the Cougs turned it around and did their thing last season. So, at the end of the day, they still turned it around. But I don't hear much. I don't hear much from Mike about it. But it's cool to have some Pacific Northwest guys repping too.
Nice.
Obviously, in the last game, you had the big play, the punt block. Tell us kind of how that went down and what it's like to kind of get a big play when you're getting back out on the field.
I mean, I've always believed in myself, and I'm a playmaker first and foremost. So when I get out there, I got to prove it. Yeah. So this play was something we had repped, and it turned exactly like it did in practice. And so we practiced it just like we executed it in the game, and that was the most important thing, to see it come to fruition as a result of perfect practice.
Awesome. And I found, like, when you came through, you got both hands on the ball, right?
No, I got one hand. I actually was a little too fast through, so I kind of overran it somewhat. Okay. So I stuck a hand back.
Oh, really? Okay.
And blocked it like that. So I mean, hey, a block's a block. I'll take it. We'll take it. Yeah.
Take whatever we can get.
That's right.
All right. So now let's do a little rapid fire so people kind of get to know you a bit better.
Sure.
What's your favorite movie?
I don't know if I have a single favorite movie, but Superbad is definitely nice. It's definitely up there.
Nice. What do you like to read?
Almost always fiction books. Currently reading "And the Mountains Echoed" by Khaled Hosseini, author of The Kite Runner.
Oh wow! Okay.
So yeah, a lot of fiction, whether it's murder mysteries or dramas, whatever it may be. Yeah.
Nice. How about on music side? What do you like to listen to?
Hip hop, reggae, some weird like indie mystic. I like pretty much everything except like death metal. I don't listen to a lot of rock, but if rock comes on, like I still dig it. It's just like not. It's just not something I often put on.
Okay, yeah. Awesome. What do you like to do when you're not on the field?
I love traveling. I've been to 16 countries and counting. Spearfishing when I travel. I'm in the process of publishing some poetry.
Nice.
I make jewelry as well.
Okay, very awesome.
Which is kind of a newfound hobby. I like to cook.
Nice.
And be outdoors. I love to be outdoors and hike and explore and whatnot.
Sweet. What was your favorite trip so far?
I've always said like Bali was my favorite place to visit. Nice. But I mean, I've had equally great experiences in places like Tonga, New Zealand, Panama.
Nice.
Yeah.
And is that all the flags that you've been to?
Yeah, the flags of every country that I've been to. I get the flag tattooed in that country. That's part of part of the journey. So,
oh man, that is outstanding. All right, you like to cook. So what do you like to eat? What's your favorite food?
I'm a big fan of duck.
Ooh.
Big fan of lamb. I really enjoy gamey meats, and I've got a really bad sweet tooth. So
I'm glad we can relate somewhat.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's I don't discriminate when it comes to sweets, except mint desserts can
fire truck
off forever, and citrus does not belong in dessert either, unless it's an orange creamsicle.
Excellent. All right, one more. If you could have an hour to talk to anyone, living or dead, who would it be and why?
Oh man, it would be my grandparents on my mom's side. I grew up with them, and they helped raise me and play such a big part. And even after they're gone, I have such vivid memories of them.
Wow.
I see them sometimes in my dreams, and it's so real to me. So.
Oh man, that is awesome. And so many people have those people who mean so much to them, and obviously getting you to where you are now. So that's fantastic.
Yeah. All right, we're going to switch it around a bit. Still kind of in the rapid fire. We're going to talk about some of your teammates here. Okay. So we'll say out a name, and you just tell us whatever comes to mind, whether it's one word or 20 or whatever. So how about we start with how about Kenny Ladler?
Low key, he's kind of soft spoken, but sometimes he just has this like sly grin on, and I can't figure out why. Like he's soft spoken about it. So
awesome, that's awesome. How about you talked about earlier your roommate Ryan King?
Super Canadian, just like when I like do a Canadian accent, like if I imitate a Canadian accent, like him and Adam Konar come to mind. Oh,
fire trucking
straight up, eh? Yeah, that thick,
that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
All right, let's do one more. Probably an easier one. Let's do Odell Willis.
Class clown. He loves the spotlight, and he loves to clown around. And it seems like he's always in a pretty good mood. So
that's awesome.
Oh, that is fantastic. Well, we can't thank you enough for taking a few minutes to chat with us. Good luck in Hamilton this week, and hopefully you get another big Superman block in there.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate that.
Oh my, that was very fun.
Wow. That was some powerful moments in there for sure.
Both sides.
Yes.
Positive and, I don't know about you, but I had a lump in my throat when he was talking about his grandparents. That was amazing.
I think you have to be dead inside at this point, and I've been accused of being a little too logical sometimes, and that was just a very powerful moment.
Yes, but a great guy, so much fun, and definitely the best Canadian impression I think I've heard in a while.
It was outstanding.
It was amazing. Jedi, you just got to hear it for the first time. What did you think of Alex?
It's hilarious.
Yeah, he's just a good dude.
It's someone who's obviously, I like those genuine personalities. Like, he's not out to impress anybody. He's not out to,
Nope.
He's there to do his job. He enjoys his job. He enjoys being an Eskimo, and loves his Canadians.
Absolutely. Well,
to me, he was just
how do you
very
not,
West,
eh?
Yeah. He was pretty West
Right.
Coast. I mean, having lived on Vancouver Island for 17 years, you see a lot of people that are very similar to it. But it's just, like you said, very genuine, very open. There was no sort of pretending or pretentiousness to him. He just is who he is. He knows what he likes to do, and he loves to experience life. One thing he said to us before we got to the interview, this is on Monday, and it was as we were sitting in the stand, started to rain on us, which is why he was talking about the beginning, is he actually said some people enjoy the rain and others just get wet.
Exactly.
And he enjoys the rain, which I thought was just, I've heard it before, but it's just a beautiful sentiment.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we've got a great 3-0 start, as we said.
We do.
And it's a great way to get another game into the books. So let's go back to more of those good times, shall we? It's time for our Eskimo history segment.
Let's hear you cheer and holler for a mighty famous team. Let's hear you roar, you know what, for a team that's on the beat. Our voices rise up to the skies, the fans are glad to scream. We love those Eskimos.
Welcome to This Week in Eskimos History. This week we will talk about some significant Eskimo-related dates from July 19th to 31st. Looking at some Eskimo-related birthdays in the next couple of weeks. July 19th, Ricky Walters, receiver from 1999 to 2003, turns 46. Young guy. On July 26th, Peter Lougheed, halfback kick returner from 1949 to 50, would have been 89. And July 29th, Damon Allen, quarterback 1985 to 88, and again from 1993 to 94, will be 54 years old. Current Eskimos celebrating a birthday this week. No guesses? You got a 1 in 46. Anyway, July 23rd, James Franklin, quarterback since 2015, will be 26. And the next day on July 24th, Doug Parrish, linebacker since 2016, turns 25. Eskimos who have their anniversary of passing during this time. July 29th, 1996. On this date, Roger Nelson, 13-year offensive tackle in 1954 and 1956 to 67, passed away at the age of 64. One of the first American-style offensive tackles in Canadian football, Nelson came to the Green and Gold under first-year coach Frank Pop Ivy, who had coached him at the University of Oklahoma using the new split T offensive line formation that the Esks had brought into the league the previous year under coach Darryl Royal. Nelson was a 4-time All-Star at tackle for the Eskimos, as well as the 1959 Most Outstanding Lineman winner. He anchored the line until his retirement after the 1967 season and was inducted into the Canadian Football Hall of Fame in 1985 and was enshrined on the Eskimos' Wall of Honor in 1987. His son, Mark Nelson, coached the Eskimos from 1992 to 94 and again from 2011 to 12. Looking at some other important dates in the Empire, July 31st, 1993. The Eskimos play their first regular season game outside of Canada as they beat the newest CFL team, the Sacramento Gold Miners, 43-11. Fullback Blake Marshall scored the final 2 touchdowns of his storied career with the Eskimos, and defensive end Benny Goods recovered a Gold Miners fumble in their end zone as the Green and Gold disappointed the 17,000 fans of the Aqua and Gold at Hornet Field. Marshall's second touchdown came on a fake field goal as holder and punter Glenn Harper tossed a 6-yard strike. Sean Fleming kicked 5 field goals, including a career-best 58-yarder, along with 4 converts, and Damon Allen tossed a 59-yard pass to a streaking Eddie Brown to round out the scoring. The Eskimos would play Sacramento 5 times in the 2 years they were in the league, winning all 5 by a combined score of 156 to 67. That team folded after the 1994 season and moved to the Lone Star State, where they became the San Antonio Texans in 1995. And finally, July 25th, 2008. In Hamilton to face the Tiger Cats, Slot back Jason Tucker absorbs a helmet-to-helmet hit from Jakeem Bradley and fractures his C6 and C7 vertebra at the base of his neck, immobilizing him and ending his all-star playing career. Tucker was the team's star pass catcher, ranking at or near the top of the team's receiving statistics every year since he joined in 2002. He immediately found chemistry with another 2002 rookie, quarterback Ricky Ray, who perfected the corner route together, connecting on 42 touchdowns over their 5.5 years together in green and gold. Tucker became the receivers coach in Edmonton from 2009 to 10, and most recently was on the coaching staff of the Tennessee Titans. Tucker was named the winner at number 83 in the recent Esks by the Numbers, and will likely one day see his name inducted onto the Eskimos Wall of Honor. Thank you again for listening to another episode of This Week in Eskimos History. Please follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Esks History, or find us on Facebook under This Day in Esks History. Until next week, fight on, Eskimos.
Going for a touchdown. Going for a touchdown. Going for a touchdown. We love those Eskimos.
Wonderful. Thank you, Superfan. As always, we've got a couple of Esks notes this week. So, 2 signings, of course, that happened just on Monday. National linebacker Jackson joined the team, and national offensive lineman Ruby. So, some good Canadian depth, as we are finding that, especially at that linebacker position, with the possibility of Konar being out long-term as well. They want to try and keep that will linebacker Canadian.
Yeah, it seems like one of those is for depth, and the other one might be a little bit of future with Jacob Ruby, who was a first-round draft pick in Montreal in 2015.
Yes.
He played offensive tackle, so I think he played left tackle. So maybe that's something they're looking at moving to a 4 Canadian line in the near future, or perhaps
Possibly.
maybe next year. So I think it's great pickups for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the 50-50 from our game, which of course was a huge thing, ended up at just under, actually, $436,000. Now, by the time this show is out, they've already announced the winner, but it has been claimed.
I demand a recount.
No, I don't blame you. So does Karen. But needless to say, there is a winner, and congratulations to that person. All right, let's do a quick Empire points update. Joe Balaneski still in first. Karen Kay now in second after her 200-point bonus. Joe Pritchard is in third. Coach Vic in fourth. And rounding out the top 5 is Chris. Want to get more Empire points? So let's go with what we said right on our Periscope. Go on to the Alair Homes website. Find out how many locations they have in Canada. Tweet that answer to us. Use the hashtag BuildTheEmpire, and you will get 20 bonus Empire points.
Don't forget to tag us in that as well so we can find it.
Yes, and Alair Edmonton, if you could. Would be wonderful.
Absolutely.
So make sure you get into the top 10 to be part of the draw for the Empire Points prize. Let's take a quick break. We will be right back with our out-of-town scoreboard, the game preview, and of course, this week's Pick'em.
This is Rashad Jinty, and you're listening to the Eskimo Empire Podcast.
The Eskimo Empire Podcast is brought to you this week by Alair Homes. If you are looking for a new home build or a renovation, check out the fine work from Alair Homes. You can find them at alairhomes.ca, at Alair Edmonton on Twitter, and Alair Homes on Facebook. Support them as they support us in building the empire. Hey guys, do you know there's even more ways to interact with the Empire online?
What?
That's right, you can find us on Twitter at EskEmpirePod, on Facebook under the Eskimo Empire Podcast group, on Instagram at EskEmpirePod, and you can also follow us on YouTube under our channel, the Eskimo Empire Podcast. Now, I know you guys like that Eskimo history segment, right?
Yeah!
You can follow more of that information at Esks History on Twitter, and you can find it on This Day in Esks History on Facebook. Don't forget to share, okay?
Okay!
Thanks so much for listening. Let's get back to the show. Patreon, patreon.com/EskEmpirePod. Hey, shout out to our Hall of Famers for this month. Joe, Jedi, of course, that is sitting right here. Hippie, Brazilian Ty, Bill, and of course, Chris, who jumped in there just on at the tailgate. So thank you very much for your support.
Absolutely. So the help has been absolutely tremendous in getting the tailgate going, helping us get some prizes, and we do have a fun contest in the coming week. So listen in for that too.
Absolutely, and head on over and join the Patreon club. Now, Joe, the Darius for Autism count is now up to $17.30.
That's great.
As we know, there is a couple of people who are matching that. If you're into matching that at the end of the season, I think that'd be awesome for a Darius for Autism.
Absolutely. Great cause.
All right, our out-of-town scoreboard, which is brought to you again by SeatGiant.ca, where they have tickets for all CFL games, including this week's Esks game in Hamilton. Plus, they have concerts, theater, event tickets, all the things that you would need. Go in there, find your tickets, use the code
Fire Trucker,
and get a discount to help, of course, help you out, but it also helps out the show. Remember, everything on there is in Canadian dollars. So, Superfan, take us around the league.
Sure. So we started off Winnipeg 33, Toronto 25. So,
man, this is stupid Toronto, I got to tell you, because so many missed opportunities. How many balls were dropped in the end zone? And then let's not get into the whole not a penalty, should have been a touchdown kickoff.
Yeah, I was going to say missed opportunities for not just the players and the teams, but
goodness,
for people watching who might have
killing me in Pick'em.
Yeah, absolutely, and of course for Karen too. So
it might be killing her in Pick'em too. Who knows? Yeah.
Yeah, disappointing for sure, but, I picked Winnipeg, so what are you going to do? Next game up, we had Montreal 30, Calgary 23. One word, wow.
No kidding. That was a shock. Do you think the Messam ejection had anything to do with that?
I certainly didn't help,
yeah.
But I think that Montreal in that fourth quarter, having a couple of touchdowns.
And that defense just, again, stepping up, right?
The thing that I think was an interesting stat that I hadn't really considered is this is the fourth loss in a row in Montreal for Calgary.
Yeah, they're having a hard time.
The last 4 years they've lost in Montreal, and that's... that's an interesting stat for sure. It's something you don't remember from last year because it was, last game.
Yeah, exactly. They were starting Drew Tate.
Yeah.
Who cares, right? Yeah, but now they won with all their guns going.
Yeah.
Or lost with all their guns going.
Even better.
Even better. All right.
And the last game of the week, we had BC 41, Hamilton 26. So certainly not the close game the other games were. But,
no. You know what? Hamilton, first half was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty close. Second half, on the other hand...
Fire Trucker.
Yeah, and that's about it for Hamilton at this particular moment. So
yeah, now, of course, we're playing them next week. So, as I said before, I hope this isn't a trap game.
Yeah, 100% agree. One other CFL note, because we did talk about last week about A.J. Jefferson being released out of Ottawa, and he did sign in, of course, Saskatchewan.
Congratulations on your career. It's great you're able to retire on top.
That's very good. All right, let's get to our game this week. Like you just alluded to there, Superfan. Esks are in Hamilton on Thursday night to take on the 0-3 Tabbies. Let's go with the keys to the game. We'll start with you, Chantelle.
Quote Mike Riley in his interview this week, we can pull out the games and really grind when we need to. But if we need to against Hamilton, there's an issue. Again, I feel and I am struggling with our offensive, and maybe it's just because I'm used to those high points early on in the game,
right?
And I really sincerely just hope that we're able to, like you said, take them seriously. And I suppose if really need be, we can really grind some points, like Mike Riley said.
Oh my!
But it sounds dirty the way you say it. I don't know. Superfan, keys to the game?
We just can't look past this team. This is a cornered team. Cornered teams have really nothing left to lose, so they're going to go for it. And I could see this being a trap game. As I've said many times, it wouldn't totally stun me if we come out flat in this game. Now, we have the guns to come back in the second half, but we need to get on them early, make them filled with self-doubt, and think, oh no, here we go again. They might panic a little bit, and we've got to get to Colorados early.
Yeah,
Boateng's just got to punch Claros, right? We need to sack
I
early
don't
on.
want to lose Boateng.
I wouldn't say, let's not punch him.
Hit him.
But
sure.
I would love to see...
Have a well-earned sack.
I'd love to see Kwaku get that first sack of the season.
Me too. Totally behind that. I think one of the biggest keys to this game for me is we need to have a return game. Mm-hmm. We need to actually start somewhere outside of the shadows of our goalpost.
I feel like I've heard this before.
I know. It's like I've just hit repeat on the podcast. And
the last
that's all I say.
3 seasons.
It's just one of those things that sooner or later, we've got to find a way to get a little bit better field position. Because I think if we can get field position and we can get our running game going, although I think with Hamilton's front four, we may have to be looking more at a little more balls in the air.
Oh my!
Which I know sounds wrong, but still, I think we do need to see a bit more of that. And of course, right now it looks as though Adarius will not be playing this week because of the pulled hamstring, which Jed called as we were sitting in the alumni box there. And so that's going to open up an opportunity for somebody like Bryant Mitchell. And he's quick and he can get down the field, get that guy and test those DBs, and let's go from there to score some points early, like you said, Chantelle. All right, who are we watching in this game? Chantelle, who are you going to be watching the closest? And Danny Crew's not playing.
I know he's not, but I mean,
he might.
He might. Yeah, I doubt it. I mean, they seem to be keeping him on that scratch list every week, and I'm not pleased, but oh well. I like our boy Kwaku. It's hard not to notice him on the field. He stole my heart when he picked up the offensive lineman and placed him to the side 2 games ago, and that for me was like, oh, you've removed him. That's fabulous.
Yes.
And almost got the sack to company. It was beautiful. I really want to see our offensive get some points, like consistently catch the ball. So yeah, I think rather than one person, it's our manner of playing. I want our offense to live up to what the defense is putting out this year, because the defense is the best I've seen, I think, in a couple of years. They seem cohesive. Forgetting, the first half of the first game we played.
Right.
From then on, they're on their men. They're where they need to be. They're paying attention. They're gently moving offensive linemen slightly to the left. And far less penalties this year than last year, where I think we were having some problems. Offside every single play.
Yeah, fair enough. This is true. Superfan, who are you watching?
Well, I mentioned earlier that Kwaku, I'd love to see get that first sack. I think that offensive line is definitely exploitable by us. But I was going to be probably spending the most time watching a guy who I thought played exceptionally well at the beginning of the season, has been a little quiet since, and that's Duke Williams. Mm-hmm. I think that he has all the tools in the world. He's a big guy. He's 225 pounds. He can win those jump balls, and I'd love to see Mike stretch the field a bit and give him an opportunity to come down and make a play. Yeah,
that's a great call. Absolutely. I am going to be watching because I believe he is going to be starting this week, and that would be returning to the lineup, number 23, Marcel Young. I'm going to be keeping an eye on him.
Not what I thought you were going to say.
Okay. But I do want to keep an eye on him. I wanted to switch it up and do some defense there. But on the offensive side of the ball, of course, I'm going to be watching my good friend Bryant, and hopefully him pulling in a catch or two. But I think with Young coming back on the defense, we've all talked about where I think that he is as far as covering guys. I want to see him do better. I just want to see him shut that down and get more 2-and-outs as possible, so that way we're got that offense on the field and gaining that time of possession that we need them to do. All right, let's get into our pick'ems for this week. So join the group with the link that we always post. The leaders this week are Barry T, then Hugo Agogo, T Lee, Superfan Mike, and Cousin Will. Wow, I tell you, everyone that I know is in the top 5 but me, because I suck. Anyway,
is this why you're just going to start copying everyone else's pick? Or?
Yeah, exactly. So Wednesday is Montreal versus Ottawa. Mike, who are you picking? That's how that's going to work.
Excellent. I'm going with Ottawa on this one. I think Montreal is obviously coming off a high with that Calgary game. But I think Ottawa is starting to get a little more desperate now, and desperate teams can maybe pull this thing out. They are a good team. They've only lost they've a tie and 3 losses by a combined 7 points.
Yes.
Our game was a 2-point loss. I think that eventually they're going to get those bounces, and this is the week that's going to happen.
All right. Jedi, who do you got in that one?
If I don't say Ottawa, my mom will kill me.
Okay.
Well, that's fair.
My mom got on the Ottawa bus when Burris came, and now that he's gone, it doesn't matter because he's on Canada AM, and she's just like, we're going to beat them, you know.
Okay. I am going to go with Ottawa. That's about how my brain was working on that one. I think Ottawa will pull this one out, but I think this is going to be very, very, very close because that Montreal defense is formidable. So I think that's going to be a very close game. All right, our next game Thursday night would be ours, so we're going to skip over that until the end. Then we've got Winnipeg versus BC in BC. Chantelle, who do you got in this one?
Fire truck, Winnipeg.
All right, BC it is. Wonderful. I am also picking BC in this game. I think they are hitting a stride right now, as I talked about earlier, and I think that playing at home is going to definitely be the advantage. Might be the mild advantage that they need to win. So I'm going to go with the Lions in this one.
This is going to be another close game. With Jennings out, Alule is having a renaissance playing, but I don't know how long that can keep up. Winnipeg has played very well, but certainly not as well on defense as they did last year. So I think this could be probably the closest game of the week. So don't hate me, but I'm picking BC.
All right. Excellent. Well done. Okay. Well, the next game is Saskatchewan versus Calgary, and that is at home for Calgary. I am picking the Stamps in this one because they are going to be pissed after last week. Yeah. So I would think even Saskatchewan coming off the bye, I think Calgary is going to be ramping up to a different level after losing last week, and they're at home where they don't lose. I got Calgary in this one. Super fan.
Yeah, I've got Calgary as well. I think that Saskatchewan is going to make this interesting, certainly at least going into the second half, but I think that there's just too many guns on Calgary. I believe in the coaching and the players that are with there, and that hurts so much to say. But I just don't think Saskatchewan's going to be able to keep up with that. So in the end, it's going to be Calgary probably by 10 points or more.
This would be a perfect game for a tie, I would say. But
I would love it.
Oh, God, that'd be fantastic.
If there's a way they could both lose, but they can't.
But a tie would be great. Okay.
I think Calgary's one of the few teams that knows how to play mad. They know how to focus that energy, and they're just going to annihilate them.
Okay. I like that, too. I can't say I'm going to... I kind of like it, I guess.
I don't like it, but historically, you get angry, you get emotional, you pull penalties.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
They don't. They beat people.
Right. That's true.
They'll get more sacks. They'll get more big plays. And when they're angry, God help the team that they're against, because they're going to have a rough time winning, and Saskatchewan did not have it to overcome that kind of anger.
Well, podcaster Ryan will be very happy to hear that. Again, follow his show on the Canadian Football Podcast Network. How was that for a plug? Sneak that in
well
there.
Done.
All right. Rare week of 5 games, so we have an extra game in here. Ottawa versus Toronto, and this one is in Toronto. So who do you have in that one, Chantelle? Remember, that is 5 days in between games for Ottawa, where we all basically just said that they beat Montreal, and now they're playing Toronto in Toronto. Stupid Toronto.
Stupid Toronto. My money's still on Ottawa.
All right. Well, I am going to continue to pick this wrong, so I'm picking Toronto. I'm saying Toronto at home. They're going to be celebrating the 97 team. I think Toronto will be a little more rested. I think Ottawa is going to get beat up a lot in that Montreal game, although they pull off the win. And Toronto has had success against Eastern teams, so I am going to go with the Argos in this one.
Well, apparently I'm going to be wrong this week because I'm also picking Toronto.
Oh, wow.
I figure if you are and I am, well, something's got to give.
Yeah, exactly.
My mom will be thrilled.
Yes. Sorry to your mother. But yeah, I'm picking Toronto in this one. It's a short turnaround for Ottawa. I think they're going to be emotionally happy because I picked that they win the game before. And Toronto is going to be a little more rested, and they're just a better team right this year. Trestman, I still have been really bullish on, and he's pulled through this year. So I'm going with the Argos at home.
All right, not a bad pick. Our final game, I think we can all say this all at the same time. It would be our beloved Eskimos versus the Hamilton Tiger Cats on Thursday night. And so we are all going with Eskimos. That's what I thought. Okay, pretty easy.
Dangerous, but honestly, it's not going to surprise me if we come out flat in this one.
I know, yeah, and that's the biggest worry, right? Biggest worry.
In Hamilton. We've done well in Hamilton, even though we've lost to Hamilton a couple of times last year.
We won a game by only throwing 59 yards.
Yeah, but in the last couple of years we've lost to Hamilton. It's tended to be in Edmonton, and we've won the games in Hamilton. So.
Yes, exactly. And don't give up at halftime, boys.
No.
Yeah, that's right.
They've shown that, again, we can come back from deficits at halftime, and we've shown that we can lose even if we're up by a lot at halftime.
Exactly. So big game there. So, all right, now you can join our CFL fantasy as well. Now, I ended up getting back up 1 point on you this week.
Yeah, that didn't help that my quarterback had -2 points. He had
my
one
defense
throw.
had -1.
Yeah, he had one throw. It was an interception, and he was knocked out for the game. So.
Yeah, it's not very good.
No, that's about as low as you can possibly get at a quarterback level. So,
well, we'll see what happens this week. I have a feeling there'll be a lot of us starting Ottawa players.
Yeah, the prices for Ottawa players have been jacked up, seeing as they're playing 2 games this week.
Of course.
So it's certainly more expensive. I am trying something different this week, so we'll see how it turns out.
Perfect. Me too. Good luck, sir.
Yes.
All right. Our leaders in that league are N. Hodge, DK_22, and T. Lee. T. Lee got mentioned in both. She's on fire.
She is on fire. She did well last year, too.
That's fantastic. So join the Eskimo Empire Pod League, or, of course, the Canadian Football Pod Network, against all of your favorite podcasters, and watch you kick my
fire truck.
I'm way down at the end there. All right, well, thank you again for coming in, Jedi. This has been fun as always.
Yes.
Where do people find you online if you so wish to be found?
I'm JediChantelle on Twitter, and I'm me, Chantelle, on Facebook.
Perfect.
Outstanding.
Super fan.
You can find me at 56 Parkies and the history at Esks History.
Perfect. And you can find the show at Esk Empire Pod, which is the one I mostly tweet out of anyway.
Pretty much, yeah.
And you can find me at Freepalicious for the odd thing that I might put on there.
It's fun to tag you on that if you know how to spell it. So
exactly, yeah. Good luck.
Make a song about that one.
Sooner or later.
Yeah,
exactly. I see another contest brewing. Thanks again for downloading, as without you, there is no empire. And thank you again to Allaire Homes for sponsoring this episode. Make sure you follow them at Allaire Edmonton on Twitter. Visit their website, allairehomes.ca, or of course on Facebook as well. And please continue to share that link. Of course, you can get Empire points this week if you go on to the allairehomes.ca website. Find out how many locations they have in Canada. Tweet that at us. Use hashtag #BuildTheEmpire. Tag at Allaire Edmonton and at Esk Empire Pod, and we will give you some Empire points. Show is back next week, and we will be joined again by alumnus Jed Roberts. I can't wait to hear more of those amazing stories.
Looking forward to it.
So make sure you do not miss the Periscope for that one, because last time was the classic Periscope of sitting on the wrong team's bench. So I can only imagine what story's coming next. So is it time for this D to get more flippy-doos? Absolutely. Is it time for this offense to play a full 60-minute game?
Absolutely.
And are we ready to pounce on the Ticats to go 4-0? Absolutely. For Jedi and Superfan Mike, I'm Andrew. Remember, you can't catch footballs with your face, and we will absolutely talk to you next week.
Thanks for listening. Find more great shows like this at CF Pod Network on Twitter.